What's going on, guys? Roganamund here, and this is kind of a video I didn't expect to be making today. This isn't gonna be Overwatch League related or even Overwatch related. This is gonna be more leaning into the variety side of the channel that I want to start bringing out during this off season. But a few months ago, as you may or may not remember, I did cover Apex Legends for a little bit. Apex Legends has been one of my favorite games for since it came out. Really, I mean, I played every season from season 0 right the way through to season 10, and just recently, with some of the patches they've been doing, and some of the server issues, and I'll get into more into this as the video progresses, but just a load of things have snowballed that has made the game really unenjoyable. And I kind of wanted to make a video almost venting my frustrations, but also trying to make it into a constructive video. Because obviously I don't want to just put out negative vibes out into the atmosphere for no reason. So we may as well start at the beginning. So Apex has always had some kind of issue with it. But that was okay in the beginning. It felt the gameplay just felt so fun in the beginning that it didn't really feel like the bugs or the glitches or whatever what have you really affected the game as a whole. It didn't really drag down the quality. And that felt the same for probably about the first 6 or 7 seasons. Maybe 8. But then as soon as I want to say the pandemic hit, really, the game started going downhill at a rapid trajectory. So obviously there is going to be some limitations that any game studio can't do when they're in a pandemic. They don't have access to all of their state-of-the-art equipment like they usually do. So a little slack was given during the whole 2020 era. But I feel like now we've had a year of this and we've sort of gotten used to how this whole thing has been working. There's kind of the expectation there that the quality starts to improve, right? That just hasn't happened with Apex specifically. There has been matchmaking issues for the longest time. I know skill-based matchmaking. Oh, skill-based matchmaking is such a bad thing. I know, obviously, it can be a very good thing for a lot of people, but just the matchmaking system they have in the game at the moment makes the game feel unfun for a large portion of the player base, and that's because nobody wants to go up against people who are trying to compete in ALGS every single time they queue into a lobby. Like, the reason people play pubs is because they want to have fun. And yes, that's the same across every skill bracket, but still, there should be some kind of, matchmaking there that prevents you from being the sole level 500 on your team, and then you have two people who have just started the game. And I don't blame the people. Like, you can't blame the low levels for being matched with you. That's not their fault. They shouldn't be in the lobby with you. There needs to be some kind of matchmaking system, because I initially thought that there was some kind of matchmaking system that helped like almost protect the lower levels from getting into these higher level lobbies, but something has changed somewhere, and the lobbies have been completely skewed for quite a while now. And that on its own made the game quite unenjoyable, but that was manageable. That was manageable. You could manage that. I'd say from season 6 to season 9, you could still play the game. It was still fun to a certain extent. You just had a limit that you could sort of until you burn out on the game. But server issues then came in, and there was a whole fiasco a few months ago where they completely lost control of their own game. I don't even know how that happens. So basically, what happened was there is a hacking team that it was originally blamed on people who were trying to like save Titanfall 2, because obviously it becomes such an unplayable mess recently. But it turns out that the people who were actually doing the hacking blamed it on them, kind of to start like a mini war between like Apex fan base and obviously the Titanfall fan base, because I don't know, people just want to cause chaos for some reason. But yeah, that happened. They ended up getting access back to their own servers, but ever since then, the servers have just been awful. I mean, you can queue into any given game, whether it be Battle Royale, whether it be ranked. Ranked is slightly less common, but it still happens. and then in arenas. And arenas is a whole different thing I'm going to get onto as well. But you can go into any one of those three modes, right? And 9 times out of 10, you're either going to have something that disconnects before you've even dropped, right as you drop, or at some point through the game. And more often than not, you can't blame it on people just being people, but still, there's server disconnecting, and why the server even starts a game when you don't have a fully match-made squad, it just makes the game really frustrating and really unplayable unless you're playing in a free stack. And then even when you're playing in the free stack, then the whole new issue comes up that then the solo players playing on their own who have been matched with one person then runs into a free stack and they get crapped on, and then that just makes them feel even worse, and then they don't want to play the game on top of that, which then adds on to the whole thing that not many people want to play the game. The game is in dire straits at the moment. I mean, I played 2 or 3 games today as of recording this video, and both games I either had a lever at the start of the game, or I was just playing on my own because everybody was disconnecting. Um, and I don't really know why they can't fix this. I mean, there was a whole week last week where you could just not play the game, and that was inexcusable. I mean, you cut them some slack because of their transparency. They did tell us when we were going to get access to the game, but it's not good enough for people who rely on this game for their income. I mean, there's countless numbers of streamers who solely play Apex. They built a community off of playing Apex Legends, or the YouTubers who have built a community off of playing Apex Legends. Granted, there are still videos that you can make as a YouTuber when the game isn't up, but the streamers especially just suffered a lot that week. I mean, trying to play a game that you've rarely played on your Twitch channel and trying to get the same viewer base that you would by playing your main game, it just doesn't work 97 times out of 10. You're not going to get the same viewer retention, and that can kill a channel, which is not what you want, and it's all stems from the fact that Apex was unplayable for a week, and they still haven't really fixed the servers, and the fact that the community itself had to come up with a workaround because we ended up finding out that it was the animated banners that actually caused the game to be unplayable. That in itself speaks volumes on I don't want to like be negative on the Apex team, but the fact that we ourselves as a community found the issue before the people who are being paid to find these issues is a little bit of an issue. And yes, yeah, we did report that to them, that's good, and then they ended up sort of fixing it, but there are still server issues now. I mean, mostly you can play the game now, but server issues still remain in the fact that the game will start a server without a full 60-player lobby, which then puts a load of people at a disadvantage, especially if you're not queuing in a 3-stack. And then there's just the whole error codes after error codes that you can get just takes you out of the game. Some people just don't come back after getting error coded. They're like, oh, well, screw this game, I'm gonna go play a different game, which then obviously exacerbates the whole issue behind, well, there's a load of levers in the game at the moment. So can Respawn really punish them for that? That's not really their fault. Like, they're being disconnected from the game through a fault on Respawn's side, and then especially in like ranked or in arenas, there is the loss forgiveness if you get disconnected, but there is a lot of people who are being disconnected and then getting that ban for not really doing anything wrong. So like I said, I wanted to make this video to just highlight a load of different issues with the game at the moment, and mainly why I haven't been posting it as much and why I haven't been playing it as much. Obviously, the Overwatch kind of stuff took over the channel during the season, but it's kind of gotten to a point with Apex now where you try and play a game and something goes wrong. So no matter what you play, no matter how you play, no matter what you try, there's always going to be something that is wrong with the game that makes it that kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And this exact same thing has happened to Overwatch with a lot of people, and you saw it when Apex came out and when Apex started getting popular around like late 2019, early 2020. everybody was leaving everybody was leaving Overwatch to then go and play Apex Legends, and now I never thought I'd see the day when the Apex people who made their channels on Apex are now going back to their roots in Overwatch because Overwatch is more of a playable game at this point than Apex is. And that's such a shame because Respawn have built a phenomenal gamer base. The characters, the representation that each character brings to the game, the core gunplay mechanics are good, the movement, the abilities all feel fun to use. I mean, mostly the maps are also really good. There's a lot. The core design of the game is phenomenal, and there is a reason why it has won all of the awards that it has won. But it's the small things that they are struggling to fix. I mean, hell, there's even stats not tracking, which has been an issue since day one. Which, I mean, they've had probably hundreds upon thousands of reports of it at this point on their website. I have been one of those people. Like late last year, I finally managed to earn my 2K damage badge. And I'm not the greatest player, obviously, so it took me a while to earn that, and it's something that I've not been able to earn on my console account since. And I send the ticket off. They don't fix the bug, and all I get from EA support, and granted this is probably all they could do, but basically the equivalent of, well, NMEL, you can just go and do it again, right? I believe, and you go and go do it. And it's like, that's not really what I wanted to be hearing there. And I'm sure that's not what a load of people who have been playing this game or are passionate about this game really want to hear when things have gone wrong. And I mean, you see it with their microtransaction bugs. Those are fixed within like minutes or within hours. Whereas an issue, granted, we don't know how deep laying the server issue was, but that took a week. And then there was an Octane bug. There's like a bundle bug where if you owned Octane as a character, then you could just not buy the bundle. And that just locked a load of people out of a cosmetic that they might wanted, and that has been a bug in the game for a while. But they've said at the same time that it's not a bug, it's something that's intentional, which is a whole issue in itself of blocking people out of cosmetics because they own a character. So, one thing just adds into another that adds into another with this game, and it's driving the player base away. It's driving me away. It's driving a load of my friendship group away who are passionate players of Apex. And it's sad to see. There are a few things that they need to fix about the game. Granted, some of them are bigger than others, but there are just a few things, and it will be as good as it was. Like Apex is still one of the top streamed games on Twitch, but like, how long does that last for? How many more server issues is it going to be before the player base and the streaming base just goes, screw this, I'm gonna go on to move on to a different game that has better servers, that treats me better as a player, and kind of almost respects my playtime. Like, how long is it gonna be until that day comes? Like, Respawn are on a clock here, and if they don't get the glaring issues with this game fixed, then Apex is gonna go the wayside of Team Fortress 2, of Rogue Company, of not Splitgate, I'm trying to think. Like, there's a ton of other VR games. PUBG, um, Hyperscape. Like, there's a bunch of games like Apex that just, yeah, sure, those games flopped on launch, but what happens when the day when Apex becomes like Overwatch? It becomes a game that has a few big streamers that stream every day, that get like a few thousand viewers, but it doesn't keep up the hundreds of thousands of like views daily it does at the moment. Like, I, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what is the breaking point of this community, and how many times are Respawn gonna have to screw up before everybody just leaves? I personally don't think that day is far away, but I'm willing to give the game the benefit of the doubt because I love it so much. I keep playing because I've spent money on this game and I don't want to see that money be wasted essentially. And I'm guessing that's why a lot of other people are still playing the game. I mean, granted, there are some people that do actively still enjoy the game in its current state, and power to you. But that doesn't change the fact that the game has a lot of glaring issues at the moment, and I genuinely hope that Respawn can do something, anything, just to fix this. So, that was my reasoning, and that was like my video explaining why Apex Legends is unplayable at the moment. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, comment below if you are playing Apex at the moment. How's your experience going? Are you having the issues? Have you had the issues? And how long do you think it's going to be until you give up on the game? And as always, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!